or tails? Which is your favorite in winning a cricket game?
Yes.
Heads. It is heads. Dear Toastmasters, in a coin, there are two sides, the head and the tails. I say that irrespective of what the side predicts for you, one cannot escape the other. Mr. Pai, we have 3 solid reasons to support your case before the court. 1, we were not heard at all before the lower court. We were not made a party. 2nd, we have fulfilled all our obligations in our claim. 3rd, we have been diligent at all steps of the way in approaching this court. I am sure the judge will be convinced that you have a solid case to win. But as you know, judiciary, justice is the toss of a coin. Depends on Lord Almighty whether you win the case or not. But I shall try my best. These were the words of my senior advocate in a recent meeting with one of the clients. The client was in a frenzy because he had lost all his money due to a fraud transaction that had happened with another person. At the lower court, things were very difficult. The judge didn't seem convinced and we had now all the reason to approach the Supreme Court. We were thoroughly prepared, but my senior said, it is the toss of a coin.
Do you really think a senior person of that caliber can say words like it depends on the hands of Almighty? Do you really think that a person who we approach, we trust, can just put his hands off and say it's in God's hands now? I don't agree with you, Toastmaster Shriraja.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Soumya. Even I was perplexed at the same thing. How can my senior say such bizarre advice to our client? Are we not supposed to keep them assured? But he placed everything on Lord Almighty. I wondered. I am given to believe that law is a scientific instrument, and now he is keeping everything for religion
Not
and
everything comes
spirituality.
in law, right? Not everything comes to the ground. Not everything comes to the court.
I understand.
Not even 10% of what happens comes to the court. You should know. Well,
Yes, thank you, Toastmaster Deepthi. But I believe I am still approaching the main subject at hand, which is, this is not at all a speech about courts, let me assure you. This is about how the idea of basing everything between science and religion was what struck me the
That's
most.
your perspective.
Thank you so much, Toastmaster Deepthi. Yes, give me a few more minutes and I'll answer what it is that I'm specifically trying to clarify.
Can I add one thing here, please?
Please.
I'm only a guest.
Yes.
See, I underwent a major surgery, heart surgery.
Yes.
The whole operation took about 7.5 hours. Before that, I was with my son and daughter talking to the surgeon for the very first time. He had seen my file, that's what I stand? No. So he had seen my file and everything. And it so happened that the surgeon's father was a close friend of mine. Then at the end of it all, he openly said, although I can give you only about 30-35% chance. Can you believe that? After coming out of the surgery in a proper way, I said, okay. So I can only do so much. Rest is in God's hands. So not the court. When a man is about to be on the operation table, he is told, the doctor says, I'm only going to try. Rest is in God's hands. When a doctor can do it, why not as a lawyer?
Definitely.
That is what I wanted to convey.
Thank you so much.
This happened in my life, and I am fair and fit. It's now about 10 years.
God's grace.
So that's it.
Thank you. This is what I wanted to convey. That ultimately, how much ever scientific ideologies that we put in, be it in any profession or be it any daily activity around us, we tend to identify and put ultimately on the hands of the God.
Absolutely.
This struck me the most in the recent past, the conflict between religion, faith versus science and fact. There are some who believe that both these huge philosophies cannot converge and move together. But there are also huge theories that identify that there is a possibility for science and religion to sail forward together. One cannot escape the other, I think. While Hindu traditions, for example, most of us might consider some things as superstitious. Do not wear black on a Saturday. Today I am wearing it. While there are other reasons which say do not eat after sunset. Some might find it very blasphemous to even suggest these ideas. But of course, there are ground-rooted scientific ideologies that each of these practices have over the period of time brought forward. Now, while I was giving the example of a discussion that my senior had with a client, I said that he left it all for a toss of a coin. That is, he left it at the hands of God. Take it any example for the reason. Toastmaster Mahesh, did you have something to add? Alright, thank you. And Toastmaster Manish, how about you? Any ideas?
No, I'm good.
Thank you so much. Like I was saying, that these practices nonetheless might appear very straightforward and very opposite to each other. While take any example, there are always rooted examples such as preparation means luck, then only do we achieve success. Preparation is the scientific backing that we give, while luck is the Hail Mary of the idea of religion that we associate to luck. There is always a sense of certainty in what we try and approach uncertainty with. Another example is recently we had a new water filter installed in my office. This because for the past week no one had access to ground RO water, so we were struggling to keep up with our hydration habits, and the previously damaged water system was kept aside and a new water system was brought in force. One of my colleagues, Miss Archana, let's inaugurate it with a simple diya. A water system with a Bisleri can attached to it. Just the purpose of serving water to our water bottles. But light it up with a diya. Why? Because ultimately we will be bestowed with the precious goodness of healthy drinking water. That was her sense. Despite this absurd idea what most people felt, nonetheless we arranged for a diya, lit it at the auspicious time in her mind around evening, and then she was the first person to ensure that she poured the water for one of our water bottles. I don't know if the water did actually help us in terms of the spiritual side of things, but nonetheless it was a belief system that she carried with herself, and this proved to me that yes, maybe religion and science can coexist together.
See, fundamentally you are assuming that they are two distinct entities, right? Why are we making that assumption? You yourself said there is some scientific basis behind every practice that we believe in or we do. So when you are saying two sides of the same coin, it's the same coin.
Exactly.
Why are we making that distinction between, why are we having this duality when at the end of the day it is just the singularity, right? If what you are calling modern science is something our ancients already knew. So first of all, why are you making that distinction? I disagree with that distinction. That distinction should not be made in the first place.
I understand the dilemma that you are facing. I would just like to clarify that I am not siding with anything. I am not saying that we are basing the assumption that everything that we call today as science is not religiously supported or is not funny. It's probably funny, but it is not religiously supported. On the other hand, I'm also trying to identify the duality, like you said, that both things can coexist. that the idea of the same coin having two sides is the duality of it. But at the same time, it being the one coin, both religion and science existing together is another aspect of it. So I am saying that me being the neutral party here, I am trying to think both ways. The dichotomy of it, yet how both can at the same time coexist. Just to open all of our minds to this possibility.
But there is no dichotomy, right? That's what I'm trying to say. That there is no science and religion as separate entities. What we call religion or spirituality, for the sake of making it neutral to all faiths, they are the same thing. If we are saying at the end of the day, Einstein said E equal to mc square. So what is he saying? All of the things around us are energy, right? So what energy we find in our idols is the same energy that flows around us as air or comes as water. So fundamentally, when you are saying one cannot escape the other, that itself is telling that there are two different entities. I am saying that the entire premise is wrong because it is the same entity.
Definitely. I am not arguing against it. I am saying that itself is one of the possibilities that you are holding your opinion on. While most others, or anyone for that matter, pursue it differently. That you might look at it as one single entity. Science and religion are not two different things.
Toastmaster Shriraja, I believe we live in this world, okay, where there are multiple truths. There's nothing like one truth.
That is my very exact point, Toastmaster Deepthi. Thank you for brilliantly clarifying it. Now, I believe that the topic is a little more philosophical for all of us to argue upon. We are all at the end of the day not the best equipped persons, at least I am not, to argue on both sides of the story. But yes, like you said, there are multiple truths to it. One may believe that yes, every little principle or practice that we follow, embody in ourselves every day of our lives, it has to do something with both religion and science. We like to believe in the scientific methodologies of our doctor, but also would like to hold on to the hope of God in helping us with our health. That's one truth. The other truth, as you said, multiple truths possible, is also that while I hold on to the opinion that yes, I am a scientific person, I am an atheist maybe, I do not believe in God, I always believe in the science of things. That is also another possibility of truth.
There's something else also. Now they
Please.
say it's Kali Yuga, we live in the world of lies. What do you say? It's not truth anymore. Lies.
Definitely, that is also one of the new age theories that is coming across. But it is always open for discussion to see. It is not necessary to identify one key answer. It is the endeavor to accept and observe and be okay with all the multiple possibilities that there is in the debate of the larger sense. Keeping things in context once again, the idea that I observed is that all my life I have been faced with certain superstitions at home, between my relatives, in my friend circles, and all of it was supported by the idea of faith and God, that you are not supposed to do this because we have our scriptures dictating this. You are not supposed to do this because our ancestors have laid down these guidelines. The quest for why this is so was always what perplexed me the most. But I realized that, like Albert Einstein said, that science and religion, one without the other. Science without religion is lame, while religion without science is blind. Maybe while the idea of science questions how things are done, the idea of religion questions why things are done. And it is good for all of us to know both answers and be satisfied with it. It is not necessary that the sides of a coin have to always, although being the opposite ends, that they don't have to converge or anything. Remember, they are the sides of the same coin, and one cannot escape. the other. I might have raised a few doubts in all of your heads, but also paved a way forward to think in this line. Thank you so much for being very interactive. Back to the Master Center.